Guys, check this out. It's the new JJRC Q130 mini short course truck, and I think we can all agree it looks like a much smaller, scaled down version of the Traxxas UDR. Just because it looks like it doesn't mean it's going to perform the same way, and I'm already noticing something that I don't like about this, and that is the terrible friction shocks. When will cheap RC companies get the message and stop releasing new RC cars with terrible friction shocks, which are no good to anyone? But look, we'll give it a chance. We'll take a look at what we get in the box. We'll then get the truck out and give it a run and see how it performs. There are multiple versions of this truck available, and Banggood have sent me the higher spec brushless one for review, but you can also get this truck with a brush setup, which will be cheaper. I do love cheap RC cars from places like Banggood. I think they're still a good option for people starting out in the hobby, who can then progress to something bigger and more well known, providing parts are available. That is one of the biggest things for me and for a lot of people, making sure you've got parts available, because you will break your RC car. No RC car is unbreakable, so bear that in mind. And a lot of the time, all of this is the deciding factor for most people. I've had some comments recently from people stating a lot of the cars I feature on the channel are Chinese crap, and to be honest, some of it is, but some of it is actually quite good. It's been a while since I've come across anything I really disliked, and I think there is a large percentage of people out there who do watch my channel whose only option is to purchase from somewhere like Banggood and AliExpress because of where they live. For this reason, I do try to do a good mix of well-known brands and cheaper Chinese stuff. Right, back to the Q130, let's take a look at what you get in the box. So this comes in a very nicely presented box. You get the truck itself, which does look really cool. A 3-channel transmitter, which doesn't feel very nice. It feels really cheap and not very nice to hold, but it does have some speed adjustment. You've got a low, medium and high setting, plus you've got your usual steering trim and dual rate adjustments. And I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of this transmitter. We get a black and white manual which features exploded diagrams and a full parts list, a USB charger, a cross wrench, a spare front bumper with the screws to attach it, a screwdriver, some spare body clips, and finally a 1500 mAh 2S lithium ion battery, which should hopefully give us decent runtime. That's everything you get in the box, so let's take a closer look at the truck itself. Now, styling first, and again I think they've got their inspiration from the Traxxas UDR. I think that's pretty clear. We get a black front grille, 2 full-size spare wheels on the rear, a roll cage, a rear bumper, a wheelie bar and a full set of LED lights, and I have already fired this up and had a look at the LED lights. Now if you click the channel 3 button in, you can change some of your lighting settings. I've never really been a huge fan of LED lights on RC cars, but some people really love them. So certainly not a bad looking truck, and it's a good effort by JJRC to make this thing look as cool as possible and to make it look exactly like the Traxxas UDR. So I think what we'll do next is we'll have a look under the body, because I want to see some of the chassis features and I want to take a look at the electronics. Now first impressions, everything does look very cheap under here, and I think that's down to the quality of the plastics that they've used on this. I'm not a fan of the red on the top deck, and I think black would have looked nicer. Overall, it just feels and looks a little bit cheap. It almost looks toy grade, but it does have some hobby grade features. Now we'll talk more about those in a moment. Let's first have a look at the electronics. Now we've got a 35 amp 2-in-1 ESC and receiver, a 2840 4000 kV brushless motor. Finally, we've got a 3-wire servo with a servo saver. So going back to the chassis features then, apart from the terrible plastic, what do we get on this? Well, unfortunately, the worst thing on this has to be those horrible plastic friction shocks. They are just terrible, and I'm not sure what's going on with the 2 different coloured springs. I don't know what they were thinking with this one, but we'll just go with it anyway. We've got a metal centre drive shaft, metal CVDs on the front, dog bones on the rear, metal diffs and ball bearings throughout. The tyres on this are extremely firm and they almost feel like hard plastic, very similar to something you would see on a toy grade RC car. And that is pretty much it. The full spec is available on the Banggood website, so I will leave a link down below if you want to head over and check this one out. This almost looks and feels like a toy grade RC car, which has had a brushless conversion and lots of metal upgrades. They've certainly cheaped out in certain areas of this truck, but I will give you my final thoughts once I've actually tested it. The biggest concern for me is those friction shocks. I already know this thing is going to be bouncing around like crazy when I get it out later on, and it's just putting me off from the start. Now at this price point, I would have expected to see certain things as a standard feature, because there are so many options out there now. The cheap RC market is an incredibly competitive one. I think JJRC have just missed out on this one because they should have included them as a standard feature. Right, so I think we've pretty much covered everything. The only thing we need to do now is to head out and find out if it's actually any good. See you in a moment. Right, so I'm on location now. The first thing we're going to do is see how fast it goes using the included 2S lithium ion battery, and then we're going to fit a 2S Lipo, and we're going to see if it makes any difference. So this is a nice flat area to do speed runs, so we should see a decent result. It is a little bit wet as you can see, but let's see how it gets on. Okay, so we're going to go to start. Let's see what we can achieve on the included battery. So this is the included 2S lithium ion. Now this doesn't feel that quick at all. This is on the high speed setting as well. I can already see those shocks are a little bit bouncy. Full throttle. What do we reckon? 21, 22 maybe? Now when you look at some of the other models out there in this price range, which do offer a lot more speed out the box, you do have to question, is this actually worth the money? I think this is about £90. I'll stick the dollar conversion on the screen. Okay, I think that's enough. Let's bring it back and let's see what we got. Okay, so read. We actually got 28, which is a lot more than I was expecting. Not too bad. Now, instead of using the included lithium ion, let's see if using a Lipo makes any more speed. It does feel a little bit more punchy. It definitely feels more punchy. Right, let's see what speed we can get. So again, we're going to hit start and let's do it. So guys, I wonder if we're going to see more than 28. It certainly feels quicker and a lot more punchy with the Lipo. I think we are. I think we're going to see more than 30. It's a slightly higher C rating as well. I think this one's a 30C. The included battery is only a 15C. Oh, it's slippery tonight. Flat out. We'll stop it before we hit the puddle down there. Not too bad. It wants to wheelie. Right, we'll take it out a little bit further. Right, let's bring it back and let's see what we got. So we're going to hit stop, read. 32, a 4 mile per hour increase just from changing the battery. Now that's actually quite impressive. Just from changing the battery, we've managed to gain a little bit more speed. Now again, at this price point, I would expect this to come with a small Lipo battery, just like some of the competition. It just feels like they've held back a little bit. Now, of course, this is for money saving purposes, but is the customer actually getting a better product? I don't think they are. Now let's do a little test and see just how bouncy those shocks are. They are super bouncy. And I still don't know why they include such terrible shocks with some of these cheap cars, because oil-filled shocks are so much cheaper these days. There's really no need for it. It's bouncing all over the place. We'll increase the speed a little bit, but you can quite clearly see Oh, see just there, the handling is affected by those friction shocks. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Now look, it's not the end of the world, you can upgrade them, but I just think these days they should come as a standard feature, especially on something like this, which is sold as an upgraded model. It's not the brushed version, this is the high performance brushless version. So let's see how this performs over here. Oh, it just feels undrivable with those shocks, really. Bouncing all over the place. Not enjoyable. Not enjoyable at all. Now I'm really trying to like this thing, but I am struggling. I am finding myself holding back on the throttle a little bit as well, because as soon as I punch it, it doesn't like it at all. It's not looking good for the Q130, unfortunately. It is quick. It's a shame it doesn't handle very well though. Oh, I've got a wheelie there. I'm really not enjoying this. It's so incredibly hard to control. Yep, I'm gonna leave it there. So there we go then guys, not a bad little run with the JJRC Q130, but it's certainly not perfect. Now I think this thing needs quite a few upgrades straight out the box, a new set of tyres, some proper oil-filled shocks, a new battery, which does make me think, is it really worth the £90 price tag? I'm not sure it is at this stage. And that is because when you look at the price, there are so many other options out there which are going to be better value, they're going to be quicker, they're going to have better tyres, they're also going to have oil-filled shocks straight out the box. And I know I keep banging on about it, but you see how it did affect the performance earlier, and I just feel like they should be banned. No new RC car coming out these days should be coming with friction shocks. Now, if Banggood hadn't have sent me this, is this something I would buy with my own money? I don't think it is, and that is me being honest. I think I would probably go for something from High Boxing or WL Toys. Now that said, it's still an incredibly good looking little car. I love the fact that they've tried to base it on the Traxxas UDR. It's just a much smaller version. I actually really like the styling. I'm not too keen on the performance. Now I'm very interested to hear what you guys make of this, so drop a comment down below and let me know what you think of the Q130. At this price point, do you think it should come with oil-filled shocks? And do you think it should have any optional extras on there? Let me know in the comment section down below. Cheers for watching, see you on the next one. Take care. Now if you want to see more cheap RC cars on my channel, click one of these videos now.